It is Punapeter riding in his 32 Chevy. He was kind enough to bring over a load of rocks for me. So we're down, driving down Punapeter? Yeah, heading towards Malama. And kind of interested in how this truck came to be. This is a truck that I showed in the video before this one. So, how'd you get it?
Well, this one here I found on the side of the road, driving back from New Orleans, going to Portland, on a VW bus, and I was in Montana. We got to Alberton, Montana. On the side of the road in the field, I saw the silhouette of the cab of this truck, and having had one when I was in high school, I knew it well. So I pulled to the next off-ramp into this little town of Alberton, and pulled up to the only thing open, which was the bar. The gas station had been closed for a couple of years, and nothing else seemed to be alive. So I go in the bar, and there was like 3 guys in there with the bartender, and I go, I bet one of you guys know who owns that truck out in the field. You go, yeah, that's Gary's. Yeah, do you know where Gary might be? He's probably out in that school bus, or the double wide or single wide next to it. And so I said, all right, thanks guys. And I took off, made my way down to the trailer. It's still there. I Google Earth it. It's still there. The school bus is gone. And I pull up in my VW bus. It's in the middle of a field. And I get out and go knock on the door. And, yo, Gary, you there? No answer. Try again. No answer. So I turn to go, and I see 2 big Rottweilers sitting underneath the school bus with 20 feet of chain each. So they can easily get from where they are to where I am, not a problem. So I just told the boys, don't get up. Tell Gary I was here. I'll be back. And yeah, it's all good. So I go to leave. As soon as I round the front of the trailer, pickup pulls up, and there's 3 fellas in there, kind of hot under the collar. Who are you? What are you on? Hey, I'm betting one of you guys is Gary. I'm Gary. Why? Hey Gary, I understand that's your truck out in the field out there. You want to sell it? He goes, well, you want to buy it? I go, well, maybe. Let's go take a look at it. So we all climb in the truck, pull on out there, and get out and take a look. I take some pictures, some Polaroids, and I go, yeah, it looks pretty good. What do you want for it? He goes, well, what do you give me for it? I go, well, Gary, that's not the way it works. It's like your truck. And so you put a value on it that you think is worth to you, and I'll tell you if I can do that or not. So he comes back and says, well, you give me $250? Sold, Gary. Sold. So he goes, well, how are you going to get it? You can't tow it with your VW bus. I said, Gary, I'm going to pay you $250 cash right now. I'm going to have you just write a receipt on the back of this postcard here because, hey, I know where you live. You're not going to move for $250. And I'll come back and get it in a month or so. He was happy. I still have the postcard. That's a Montana State Prison postcard with his signature on the back, the date, and, sold. So I came back a couple months later with I think I could pull a Mercury Cougar with a tow dolly. Big old honking old V8. And so we hook it up. When I'm hooking it up, he comes up to me. He goes, those guys were bugging me. And they were saying, you could have got more. Now I wanted to ask you, if I asked you for $500, would you said yes as quickly? I said, Gary, you could have said 1,000, and I would have said yes. He's like, dang. I go, hey, but here's 20. Go buy a case for the fellas and tell them, you got what you asked for, and I didn't try to, wiggle you down. So they went from there to Idaho to Portland, California. This is all being towed. It was in storage in California, and then my friend in Santa Fe, I towed it down there, and that's where I took the body off the frame and left the frame, because I knew I wasn't going to rebuild it from the frame up. I was going to put it on top of a later model, because my 3 previous ones were all original, and you wouldn't be running around as smoothly as this and that. So it went from Santa Fe to Detroit to Key West, Florida. Was under the house in Key West, Florida during that hurricane I told you. And then from Key West all the way back to California, and I stuck it in front of my mom's garage until I shipped it over to Hawaii. That's a nice day, Lonnie Strong. Mm-hmm. And then I had it over here sitting for a couple years until the 85 GMC Sierra Classic 4x4 that it's sitting on top of, and I drove cross country with, blew it up, and since I had to pull the engine, might as well pull the body too. And that was in '98. I started tearing it apart, and it was on the road by October 2002, and it's been rolling ever since. So that's the great truck saga.
Oh, it's fantastic. Quite the adventure.
And I just put a new engine in it beginning of last year. It had a 307 for a lot of years, but now it's 350. Just a little bit, since there's nobody in the car.
Hey, you guys, here's that
frame.
That frame that
like this one looked at in the middle of the process. Someone's kit car.
Okay, that is it for now. Aloha.